All right, hey everybody, back. We are back, and we are talking about work trucks, whether whatever brand it is. But we are going to be talking about work trucks in general, the mid-size version. Are they a good buy? Are they worth it? Should you get a work truck version? Sorry, light was giving me fits there. Should you get a work truck version or the other ones? What's the better buy? Where do you save the money? And is it worth it? So let's dive into it. Work trucks basically, and we're going to look at all brands, and it's shocking actually. But whether you're talking about like the Colorado WT versus a Trail Boss or a Z71, that kind of thing. If you're looking at a Ford XL Ranger versus an XLT Ranger, looking at a Tacoma SR versus an SR5, a Nissan S versus a Nissan SV. Okay, the bottom of the barrel mid-size truck segment, work truck only. Are they a good buy? Let's take a look here and see. So we go over to Auto Trader here. We'll compare the same of all of these vehicles, identical setup. So we have all-wheel drive selected. We got the WT trim, 2024 is only new, and we have it set. All of these I have set the same. Okay, I selected new. I picked four-wheel drive. I don't want to own a truck that's not four-wheel drive, so all of these will be four-wheel drive. And the only other thing I made a change on is I made sure to select crew cab if they offered more. The Colorado only comes in a crew cab, but if they offered access cab or half side, I selected crew cab. But so we look at this. Okay, here's the work truck. There are 515 of them in the country as a WT model here, and we got it set to lowest price. So we look at this. Let's just take an average of the first page. Okay, so we look at this. We got 514. We're 32, 32, 32, 32, 32, 9, 33, 34. So let's just call it 30. Let's just round it and call it 35 or 33,000. Okay. 33,000, maybe 33.5 is a better round, but call it 33.5 for your standard work truck configuration here, as we're seeing it, the standard work truck form. If we go over here and we look at, and we do the same thing, but we put in Trail Boss, keep all the same parameters, we look at this, well, let's go through it. We got 34, 34, 34, 35, 35, 35, 35, getting into 36. So call it 34.5. So for $1,000 more, you can be in a Trail Boss, Colorado Trail Boss versus a Colorado WT. In my opinion, that makes the WT kind of irrelevant. There's no reason to buy it when you can get a Trail Boss for $1,000 more. Okay, it's interesting to look at the reality of this and understand it. Look at the discounts we're seeing here. Okay, we're seeing basically, what are we at here? What is that? That would be $8,000 off almost on these. What are we seeing on this? Okay, here we're seeing $1,000 off. We're seeing $3,000 off. Okay, you see the difference here? It's based on the trims and the availability. But right now, a work truck, WT truck, is a waste of money compared to what we can get for a Trail Boss. But there's also only 515 of these available. Here on a Trail Boss, there's a whopping 2,700 almost available of these. So the deals are better. 34 grand right here, and you're looking at this one. You're looking at 32.5. There's big differences here, okay? But they're only 2,500 off MSRP here, where this one is coming in at at $7,000 off MSRP. So tremendous deals are available in certain trims, not other trims. So you got to keep that in mind. This is a much better truck than a WT, has better resale value, has the 4 low range in it with the actual 2-speed transfer case, has a lot of features in this truck that are going to be very nice for you, and you can get it for $1,000 difference over this one. Kind of interesting. Let's move on from there. Let's go look at the Frontier. Okay, the Frontier, the S model, the basest as it gets. And again, I did select on this. I did select crew cab, so we're matching. All-wheel drive, S trim. Okay, we got 634 S's out there. All right, and their ranges. We take the first page again, 31, 30, 31, 9, 32, 32, 32. So we're gonna call it 32 on the money. Okay, let's just call it 32,000 for this truck because 31 nines. So we call it 32,000 for an S. If we come over here and we look at an SV set up the same way, what are we seeing? 32.6, 32.8, 33, 33, 33, 34. So we're going to call it basically you know, call it 33.5. You're $1,500 more, and you're in an SV with all those upgrades and options for $1,500. That's pretty significant. And look at the differences in price again on here. We're talking about $8,000 off, versus here we're talking about $4,000 off. Okay, so understanding it all relates to the same thing. Only 634 of these. Here we got 1,147. What if we compare it to the Pro 4X? Well, let's see here. So here we were at 31,000. We said 31.9, no, we call it 32,000, 30 or 31.5. We'll call it. Let's go over here to a Pro 4X. Let's look at a Pro 4X. We're at 31.5 here. We're at 35, basically. We'll call it, because we look at this. So we'll call it 35. We're at 35. And you could be in a top tier Pro 4X for $3,500 more. That's the difference, okay? And think of the resale value and all the features you gain with this truck. So pretty amazing when you start to, again, let that sink in. $8,000 differences in price. But again, 1,600 or 1,700 of these versus here we only got 600 of them. So this makes a difference. So if you're thinking mid-size truck in the work world, there might be some things that you need to reconsider to get the best price in the deals. Now, what about if we go over here to Ford? Okay, here's the Ford Ranger XL. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Here's where the tides kind of turn, okay? Ranger XL, look at here, okay? We're getting, you know, over $4,000 off right here, and you're only $33,900. Now, again, I do have selected on here all-wheel drive crew cab XL. Okay, so we're matching apples to apples here. But, you know, look at it here. You're almost $6,000 off. So the XLs are doing pretty good. But notice 1,230 of these on the XLs available. That matters nationwide, okay? But that matters. But here we take the average of this, so we're 32.5, kind of ballpark it. We're going to call it, and then we're getting into 34. So we're going to call it 33 grand for this. If we go over here to an XLT, okay, there's almost 4,000 of these, but we're 33 on the XL. Here, we're looking more like averaging out at 37. So 33.5, you know, we're talking a pretty significant difference here. You're over $3,000, $3,500 difference here. This is a pretty big difference, and there's not a lot of difference between the XL and the XLT. So now you're starting to get kind of where you would expect the differences to be there, the reality of these differences to be seen. We look at the discounts here. Ford sucks at discounts. Ford sucks at all this stuff. I mean, Ford is overly proud, more so than Toyota is of their trucks. There's a reason I won't buy a Ford. They're just too full of themselves on everything. So right now, I've owned a lot of Fords. I love their trucks, but their pricing, they're just too full of themselves, trying to be like Toyota once was here with their pricing. But you're talking $3,000 off on an XLT. There's 4,000 of these things available, and you're talking like $3,000 off on average. Sure, you got a couple of them like this that are going to fire off and say, you know, 6,500, but overall, when you look at this, they're very low. It's $2,500 off on the Rangers. They're disgusting right now. So very low numbers on there. Not very impressed. Wouldn't buy one. No, thank you. Moving on. I can get a lot better truck than this for the money myself personally, and a better deal. And the deal's what matters the most to me, but they are in line with what we would expect the difference to be here. Look at 4,000 off here. You're getting a bigger discount on the XL here than you are on the XLT. Let that sink in, how weird some of these things are and why you have to research them all the time. Let's look at this one, Tacoma, the SR, the lowly bottom of the barrel SR coming in here. Okay, well, we look at this again. Same thing, crew cab, all-wheel drive versions only. We dive through this. We're going to look at it and kind of average it out. We're coming in 37s. So we're going to call it 36.5. Actually, 37 is pretty legit because there's only a couple of these there. We're going to call it 37 grand for an SR. Look at over here. Okay, here is basically here what we've done is we've went to the SR5 crew cab all-wheel drive. We were at 37 for those. We're coming in at basically 39 for these. Okay, 39.5 probably. Okay, so 2,500 bucks more to go to an SR5. Not a bad deal, and you gain quite a bit here. So it's something worth considering. We got 6,000 SR5s. We only have 800 SRs. Okay, in a distant or the discounts here, we're only seeing 3,000 bucks, 2,000 bucks, 2,000 bucks, not even 1,500. We're seeing small discounts on the SR5s. Versus here, we're seeing much better, 4,000, 5,000, 4,000. So we're seeing some better deals, 3,000. So we're seeing the deals are in here are a little bit better. Some of them maybe not so much. So about the same actually average between the two of them deal wise. But you can see it makes more sense here, like Ford does, that you would have lower prices on the actual the lower models. Where with Colorado, that is not the case. Okay, in the Colorado world, and it is also not the case in the Nissan world, which is interesting because they're also both very, very affordable trucks in all trim levels, but makes sense when you start getting into the Ford, though, and you start getting into the Toyota, things get a little weirder there and kind of fall in line. What about Jeep? Well, let's look at this. What about Jeep? You get a sport model, okay? I didn't have to change a lot because they're all four-wheel drive. They all got these options, but we look at the sport, 7,000 sports. 7,000 of them, okay? Now, I bet the Sport S's are mixed into here too because of the fact that when we go to show, when I change this to Sport S, it only shows 2 in the whole country. So I'm assuming they're mixed in there, but look at the prices on these sports, okay? Look at the discounts here. They're massive. Look at this. I mean, 27 to 42, that is huge. What is that? Let's actually do a real math number on that. So you got 42,885 minus 26,985 is a difference of $16,000 off. Okay, so we got some pretty good deals on these sports here that are coming in here, and some of them done up right. Look at this one. You know, I mean, they're good looking trucks here, but you're basically coming in about probably 30 grand if we were to average out this first page. 30,000 bucks for this for a sport model. Okay, crank windows, simplicity, all that kind of stuff, nice. What if we go over here and we look at the, I actually clicked sport and there's only 2. These are only 2 that pop up, but look at the difference. Okay, you're talking over here, we were basically 30 grand, you're coming in, call it 30,000 bucks. Probably average 30,000 bucks. Here you're 10 grand more to go to for their 2 sport models. Again, they're only listing Sport S's on here, so a little finicky, but still, look at the difference there. That's a huge difference between a Sport and a Sport S. Same with the Willys. I selected Willys nationwide. They only pulled up 2 of them in here. I'm sure there's more. They're just not classifying them as a Willys like that. But look at here. Okay, still huge discounts, 12 grand off, or 2 grand, or right here, 5 grand off, but not, you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. You're double the price. It's pretty crazy. So let's jump ahead on this because these numbers are kind of skewed, and let's go to a Rubicon. Okay, so we know here we're seeing 15 grand off on sports because they got 7,000 of them. $15,000 off on sports. What are we doing on the Rubicons? We go over here to Rubicon, there's 3,200 of them, and we are seeing the same thing. Look at these numbers. Look at these discounts here. 15 grand off on these things all day long. Not an issue. The deals are here. We're going to be doing more of this coming up in next month when I start showing all these perfect time to buys and best deals. But pretty crazy how the work truck base trims in some models, very affordable and a good option. Okay, or would be like Ford and the Gladiator and the Tacoma. But the Nissan and the Chevy Colorado, not a good option. You're better off buying a higher trim level, getting the bigger discounts and getting it for basically the same price. Thought it was interesting. So if you're looking for a work truck or as simple of a truck as you can find, hopefully this gives you some food for thought and way to look at it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Put your comments down below. Thanks for watching.